Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you more CasterMuse Narak StarLeague. Here we are in Group B, and this is match number 2. It's between Absolute, the Zerg player in the top right, and Paralyze, the Protoss in the bottom right. Kind of an exciting match. Paralyze has been doing pretty well lately. For those of you who can't place a face to the name, one word, Afrotoss. This guy was on SK Telecom. As a Protoss player in StarCraft 1, switched over to StarCraft 2, played in GSL a little bit with some decent results, and now is back full-time in StarCraft 1, and he is the Protoss player that has literally an afro, at least last time I saw him. So, yeah, very cool to have him back in the scene. His opponent, Absolute, this is one of the newer Zerg players that's really rising quickly into the scene. I know it feels like there's a lot of Zerg players doing that right now. But it's definitely the case. Absolute is only like 24 years old or so, 25 years old maybe. But he got second in ACS in 2022. So ACS is the amateur league. If you haven't been in ASL yet, you're allowed to play. And there's some good prizes on the line. It's definitely very watched, very participated in. It's an extremely hard tournament. And once you start hitting like top 2, you're not allowed to play anymore. That's where they kind of switch you over and it's like, okay, you're pro level, you know, go play ASL quals. So, Absolute, a very, very strong Zerg player. Going to go ahead and go for a hatchery first here. And of course we have the Gateway expand coming up from Paralyze. So, as to who is advantaged, I can't say for sure. Like, I think that Paralyze, the games of his that I've seen lately have been pretty good, pretty strong. He's definitely been playing a lot, but I mean, getting top 2 in ACS is seriously no joke. You know, it's like, you know, that's what Scan did that, for instance, right? It's ACS really is a pretty good system. See who exactly is coming up to be pro gamer level, like right at that moment. So yeah, I don't know, I think it's a pretty even match. I'm hoping that we're in for a solid game. And yeah, while we kind of wait for this to gear up a little bit, I want to thank you guys for watching ArtosisCasts. Please do hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. You know, we have so many awesome games lined up and ready to go. I've been sponsoring a bunch of matches. Obviously, we're doing the CasterMuse Narak StarLeague, which is absolutely fantastic so far. So many great matches. And what are we, like halfway through the tournament so far? Right around there, I think. Because this is, you know, the round of 32, and we're going to be jumping into the round of 16 after this group. Well, I guess that would mean we're actually just slightly less than halfway through. But yeah, it's been some great games so far, and only going to get better as the best players continue to advance. So here comes Probe plus Zealot. Probe plus Zealot is very good, a very good combo. 1 Probe hit and 2 Zealot hits kills a Zergling. So it's actually always, and it was more popular back in the day, but it's always smart to have a Probe with that Zealot. It's like giving him +1 attack in a lot of ways. And it's also 2 Probe hits and 2 Zealot hits to kill a drone. But you can see he's done reasonably well. He's killed 3 Lings off. He is going to end up losing this now. But forces those Lings out and everything. A lot of Lings being made by Absolute at the moment. Okay, so like, yeah, he's going to be able to deal with the Zealots, but this is part of what you're trying to do with the Zealots, is you're forcing them to not make drones. Because don't forget that during this, you're generally consistently making probes. Not exactly at this second, like Paralyze is streamlining his build right now. Like, he's getting his Forge up, he's getting the Assimilator up, and in fact, even making a Shield Battery because he knows that there's a lot of aggression on the way. But yeah, that is a hell of a lot of Zerglings that he's going to have to hold on against. But forcing them into that, like, look at this. It's only 11 drones against 20 probes. So it's a much, much bigger economy for Protoss right now because of that pressure, even if the Zealots didn't technically kill their worth in those units. Now, here come those Zerglings. And honestly, with the Shield Battery, you can't really break this. The best he could probably do is try to get the gate, but the cannon is basically going to finish before he's really able to knock it down. So probably not worth like sacrificing a bunch of Zerglings to do that. He did leave 4 at home to block probe scouting. We'll see if he's able to do that, of course. The layer is on the way. So that is what Paralyze is looking for. He really wants to know. And you know what? He just slips right by immediately. And part of that is because the Zealots actually came out to fight. He does surround one. So he was focusing on looking down here and microing well against the Zealots. And does accomplish that, but the scout gets off, and suddenly Paralyze knows, okay, this is not some sort of 3-hatch Hydra bust. I don't need to overmake cannons or anything like that. And now we can see Paralyze just kind of jump up the tech tree very quickly. You see the Stargate goes down immediately. He has +1 on the way. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the second gas and a Citadel coming up quickly also. In the meantime, we have 4 Zealots walking across the map, a pretty normal number. The Lings coming down. Zergling speed is being made, but not done yet. It does help a lot on those engagements and can kill off the probe very easily at that point. Paralyze turning around. He knows because of how many Zerglings he sees, like the ones that came up to meet his Zealots, plus the ones chasing his probe, that moving his Zealots out this far forced more Lings. And he's right. 8 more Lings are on the way. That's 4 less drones. So again, forcing less drones to be made. Some really great moves coming out of Paralyze here. Now the Citadel is coming up. There's that gas as anticipated. Another pylon as well. And the Spire is a little over halfway done. So this is looking like pretty standard overall. I feel like Absolute was forced into slightly more Lings than he probably wanted. But it's not like the end of the world, right? One thing you're going to see here is a shield battery being picked off. This is actually incredibly important. The shield battery is very good with Ling against Zealot if they make a lot of Lings, but it gets in the way. It takes up a lot of room, and a lot of the times what you want to do is actually kill it off so you can fit cannons here. I'm not kidding. There's literally pro games that I have casted in ASL where the Protoss dies because they have a shield battery. Because they have a shield battery, they die. I know, it sounds insane, but you actually do have to be on top of getting that out of there and putting cannons there if a Hydra bust is coming. Because this does not help against a Hydra bust, not even a little bit. You might think, oh, well, healing the Zealots, that can't be bad. Dude, it doesn't help, okay? You need cannons in that location. Now, in this particular game, does he need to do that? We're not sure yet. Okay, the Corsair has gotten a single Overlord, and it looks like he might end up dying. Oh my god, the second Corsair's out, and we have a double chase sequence here. Try to keep track of both of these. And oh my god, look at the loop-de-loop there. These Scourge going to come and try to head off this one Corsair, and he does catch it. That was a beautiful flank from Absolute. Paralyze runs back with his other Corsair, and the other one actually kind of got rallied out. Here we see the Zealots don't actually have +1 yet. A little bit of an anti-timing, but still takes it handedly. If they had +1, those Lings like actually would have evaporated. It would have been crazy. There'd be like no damage on the Zealots right now. Instead, we have 4 in the red. So right now, the Corsair going up for a bit of a scout, sees those Hydralisks being made, sees the Evolution Chamber, and of course, this is going to be heavy Hydralisk pumping from here on 5 hatches. Now, the Zealots already took some damage, so like they're not going to get anything done. Paralyze knows that. He turns around. They are starting to get popped, and that's just because they already have taken that damage. Doesn't really have the mass that he needs. Decides to end up killing off the rest of that shield battery. I think that's a good choice. Throws a cannon down where it was. In fact, 2 more cannons coming up. You do have to be careful. Like, I've talked about this a lot in the cast here on this channel, as well as in ASL. The Hydra, like the pre-Storm Hydra bust, is very scary. Now, Overlord speed is done, so this one DT that is trying to keep these at bay is going to get picked off. Down it goes. And we have the cannons being made. Is he going to actually have enough? I think so. I think between the Zealots that he has and the cannons that are warping in, and Psystorm a little over half done, he should be fine here. And this wasn't like a very all-in move with this. Sometimes you see people that really optimize their build to this bust timing before Psystorm. He didn't really do that. Like, he walked down, and if that shield battery had still been there, for instance, maybe he attacks. I don't know. A few more Hydras being made up here. Looks like the Corsair is actually getting a little bit of damage. Picks off an Overlord. There is the 4th base going up for Absolute right now. We don't really see any other tech. Is that +2? Check. No, that's just +1. Almost done. Zealots came out to actually fight here. And looks like it was almost an even trade, but Absolute ends up taking that down. Is this all the high Templars he has? He only has 2? That's like a little bit surprising, I think. A lot of Zealots are being produced right now. So a little bit of a more old school style. You know, there are a couple different styles that we've seen develop more recently in the last year or so in Protoss vs. Zerg. Some people are going a little bit more Dragoon heavy a little bit earlier on. And it's very normal to see 4 High Templars basically before everything else just to gain energy. But here, it's just a couple and then a lot of Zealot production. So maybe a slightly longer game that Paralyze is going for. Like, it seems to me like he wants to have a very good amount of Zealots to run out here, screw with the Hydras, and then harass. Oh, wow, a nice Storm, actually. I wasn't expecting that. And then building up into his other higher tech units. The Robo is almost done already, so that is a pretty quick Robo in this situation, but the Lurker upgrade is on the way, so I think he has it well timed. Now the Zealot's coming out, trying to push these Hydras back, but there are plenty. He has to turn around. The Corsair is still trying to harass here as well. Looks like he will find maybe a couple. No, the Hydras rallied to that position, will force them back as well. Zealots right now being split into 2 groups. 5 Zealots running up the side there, and another 8 up the other side. So Paralyze right now trying to multitask and really get something done. In the meantime, he has also gotten those 4 High Templars I was talking about. That kind of is the number that people are using nowadays, no matter what strategy they have in PvZ, whether it's more Zealot heavy or more Dragoon heavy for the early game. Seems to be agreed upon between Protoss players. Now, oh my god, he catches his hatchery. Now going to run in there and just target the actual hatchery down as opposed to going after drones. I think that this is a very smart move. The eggs actually displace one of the Zealots, and he should be able to kill this hatch. Yeah, the hatch is definitely going to fall, but he is going to lose all the Zealots, right? So, I mean, it was certainly a good move, but the Zealots don't get anything in addition done. Now, another group running up. We'll see if he gets anything done with those. Oh, my god. I somehow missed this. But it looks like, you know, that quick Robo that we were talking about. It looks like the shuttle dropped off some Zealots and he targeted down the Spire. That's a pretty strong move. When you end up killing the Spire, it just means you don't have to worry about your High Templars getting sniped by Mutas, right? That's the one thing that the Spire is really, really used for. So that's very nice. That's going to make Paralyze pretty comfortable at keeping his High Templars alive. Now, you can see he is transitioning into that Mass Dragoon play that we were talking about before. Lots of Dragoons being produced. Once again, forces another cancel here with another little group of Zealots. Drops a Dark Templar off in the main base. Unfortunately, going to lose the shuttle as well as the DT. So no real damage going in. Absolute going to be feeling pretty good about knocking down that shuttle especially. And, of course, avoiding all that damage that could have been dealt. But you don't expect another shuttle to come anytime soon. All the minerals for Paralyze should be poured into Army. And the Robo build time should be primarily on Observers. Because now that it's turning into Lurker Hydra, sniping those Observers is a very powerful move from Absolute. Absolute going to kind of rotate through the map right now with this Hydra Lurker. Looks like the Zealots is still chilling over here. Absolute's only on 3 base, man. That is one thing to consider. His army is really, really big, though. And here we go. He runs up. Now, that is some Psystorm potential right there if I've ever seen it. Does actually end up picking off one of the High Templars with that Lurker Burrow. But the Storms are very, very strong. Several Lurkers already taken down. A bunch of them very, very low on health at this point as well. And just taking a look at the numbers of this game, okay? So we're at, like, late mid-game, I guess I would call it, where it's still Lair, but it's Hydra Lurker, and now Lings are being added in, right? Like, what you actually want is Ling Lurker. That's, like, kind of the composition that's really, really scary, but you can't do it early on. But now that Absolute is getting into that on 3 base, which is kind of funny. It feels like it's not that many base to end up doing that, but that's going to be very scary to deal with. The Lings and Lurkers actually cover each other very, very well. Now, Paralyze going up the map. Let's kind of zoom out, take a look at his full army. It's mostly Dragoons with a few Zealots mixed in, and right now, only 2 High Templars. So that makes me a little bit nervous, right? There's 1 Storm, and then it's picked off before a second one is ready. We have 2 Storms left here. Now, the Dragoons will do well against this because they're in an overwhelming number and they have a couple Storms. But what I'm worried about is these Lings, right? Like, this army will do well against this, but this will destroy. Now, let's see if that's going to be the case. The Lings running up now with those 1-on-1 upgrades. Some Storms being thrown out, and the Storms are not bad, but that is a hell of a lot of Lings, and the Lings getting on top of absolutely everything here. The Dragoon's going to take so many hits to actually clear those Lings. A beautiful Storm does come up from a reinforcing army, but you can see the Dragoon count being reduced quite a bit. Now, that being said, these Zealots come up, and if he can just get rid of the rest of these Zerglings, he might be able to pop the rest of the Lurkers and overwhelm, but it seems like the Ling Lurker coming up is going to be enough to push back Paralyze's army. And now, where are the High Templars? He does have this third base up, not mining gas yet. This is a mistake. Definitely needs to get that gas mining ASAP. Needs more High Templars in here very badly. You can see the production tab. It's High Templar light and Zealot heavy. So, you know, you definitely do need to have some more Storms in this army. I'm getting a little bit nervous here for Paralyze. Absolute maintaining a pretty high supply. You can see the worker count is very similar. And the actual overall supply is really similar, which generally is a good thing for Zerg. Their units are just less supply, right? Hydras are 1, Zerglings are half of a supply, and the Lurkers are 2. So when you look at the Protoss army where everything is 2, you can kind of see where these numbers suddenly are looking really good for Zerg. Now, taking a look at the entire map, we've got a very good spread. It's going to be hard to actually get anything by him. Some good spread of Overlords scouting everything. Looks like Paralyze wants to take another base, but there's a single Lurker just kind of slowing him down. They're going to have another fight over here to the side. Looks like Absolute pulls back. Want to take... Oh, man. Still no Hive here for Absolute. If you are able to wiggle up to Hive in a situation like this, when you get the Adrenal upgrade on the Zerglings, they are so much stronger. It's actually insane. There's nothing like Adrenalings fighting against Protoss, seriously. They destroy absolutely everything. But it seems like Absolute is content to just stay on that layered tech and continue to produce this Ling Lurker Hydra army. Now, the entire army of Paralyze being brought together, he realizes that a big attack is incoming. Some Storms go down. A couple Lurkers burrow, more Lurkers flooding in. This is a very Zealot-heavy army, so the Lurkers are going to be problematic. That's a great Storm on the Lurkers, though. Deals a lot of damage right there. I'd love to see another, and in fact, he delivers another. These Lurkers very, very clumped up at the moment, so Paralyze is getting some magnificent Storms. Look at that. Just so much cost efficiency through these Psy Storms from Paralyze, but he is running out of them. It seems like every High Templar is low energy at the moment. And, man, these Hydras sniping off what remains of the High Templars. Very painful. Now, there's a lot of gas. Like, he can make, like, 6 High Templars right now. So I would like to see those refilled ASAP, but the standing army is going to have a hard time against this Lurker Hydra. Some more Storms go down. That one actually misses anything at all. The Lurker's getting a bit more split. These two are under the same Storm, but these two absolutely split perfectly. Looks like this attack will continue onwards, and I think Absolute is about to take this game. This never-ending onslaught. True Zerg play. Going to be breaking through Paralyze. GG. Absolute goes to the winner's match.